mass murder hysteria at home.
That's today's topic
On Dirty Deeds, the Dark Side of Real Estate podcast.
Contracts in the shadows, deals behind closed doors, money on the table, someone keeping score, foreclosures and mansions, secrets buried deep. Welcome to the stories the agents never keep. Dirty deeds in real estate, hidden lies behind the gate, big money, broken dreams, nothing's ever what it seems. Oh yeah! The dark side of real estate. The dark side of real estate.
Hey, I'm Jenny Williams, and so excited to have you back to Dirty Deeds, the Dark Side of Real Estate podcast. And today we've got a special guest. Tammy McClure has decided to join us today. So welcome.
Thank you.
And of course we've got Kylie. If I'm destroying the studio,
Tammy is our first guest. We are so excited to have you. So excited.
yes. And before we get into the stories that Tammy's going to share with us today, and we're just going to ask her a ton of questions because she reached out, because I'm always asking, hey, if you've got a good story, reach out so that we can share it as well. She sent me a couple of them that are super interesting, and we're just going to hit the highlights today. But before that, we got all that legal stuff to get rid of. So here we go. I'm going to take a deep breath. Stay with me, all right? The Dirty Deeds podcast discusses real estate stories involving fraud, scams, agent safety issues, perverts, stigmatized properties, and unusual or alleged events associated with certain homes or transactions. The information shared in this podcast is based on publicly available reports, my personal experiences, Tammy's personal experiences today, industry experiences, or stories submitted by listeners. Some details may be altered or generalized to protect privacy. Any references to individuals, companies, or properties are presented for informational and education purposes only. Allegations of criminal activity or misconduct referenced in this podcast are based on publicly reported information and should not be interpreted as definitive statements of fact unless confirmed by a court of law. The views and opinions, this is super short, expressed are those of the host and guests and do not constitute legal, investigative, or professional conclusions. Listeners should not rely on this podcast as a substitute for legal advice, official records, or professional real estate guidance, except for Tammy and me, because we are highly experienced realtors. If you believe information discussed in this podcast is inaccurate or misrepresented, please contact us so that we may review and address the matter appropriately. There we go. We got all those to go.
We need a law firm to sponsor that.
We really do.
There you go.
We really do.
Probably know somebody.
Yeah.
Between the two of you,
Yes.
know somebody.
Well, and I called an attorney and said, okay, what can I say? What can I not say?
Right.
And because, Tammy actually was asking me about this earlier, and he said, well, let me just tell you, go to ChatGPT.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
I'm like, okay. ChatGPT comes in handy. I do love a good chat. So yes, he wrote this disclaimer for us.
Love it.
And it should encompass all the things for us. So I'm super excited about today because, Tammy and I have known each other forever. And in fact, used to be my son's baseball coach. And I love that. And Jacob's been playing since he was 4 years old. And so is Justin. A long time. And so we've known each other outside of the real estate world. It's sorry, Kylie. You only know me on the real estate rock.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll third wheel it today. I'm still just excited to be here. I'm still happy to be here. It's fine.
Well, Tammy is the exact opposite personality of me. She is very researched and diligent in detail. And, I'm such that big picture overall. We'll definitely make something happen because I'll force it. Tammy actually shows up and knows what she's doing. So when she sent me some stories of things that she's been involved with throughout the years, I'm like, okay, like she's so credible to share this stuff. And, we don't have like a ton of research put behind any of this, but we're going to touch on each of it because everybody has a story that has to do with murder, rape, suicide, just like what I was talking about, me being that wrongful death realtor for so long. And that's why we put this out here, because Kylie and I have had so many discussions. And at the time when Kylie was buying her last house, I was like super upset about a stalking situation with one of my colleagues in Tuscaloosa. And every time I would get an update about it, I would share it. I'm like, we got to do something about this. Like we've got to bring this to the light because it's so horrible. And we're going to actually dive in and share that whole story and maybe even get her to come on as a guest about that. But so when we launched this off and said, if it's murder, rape, or suicide, somehow I was your girl for many, many years. So when we put it out last week, Tammy was like, I had no idea you were doing this and we're totally into it. And she was like, here's some of the stories that I've been involved with. And I'm like, oh my God, you've got to come on and share them.
Yes.
So Tammy, thank you for being here. I know it's kind of overwhelming. Like, hey, here's the headphones. Here's your microphone. Smile at the camera.
Talk about all these horrific things and just
Well, and you are also a colleague of mine now. You're in real estate. And I do love that. Of course, your profession is, she knows everything about numbers and tax. Like she's genius. So whenever you shared this with me, I'm like, I can't wait for you to share. So first off, you had some friends that moved to San Francisco, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, as a guy who used to work next to me in a cube next to me at my job in San Francisco area. And anyway, he had rented a house and he got this great deal on it. And he knew why he got a great deal, but he was paying like $500 a month for this nice condo, high-rise building, but apparently a family was murdered there, and that's why his rent was so cheap. This was in the 90s.
How much was rent normally for that area?
It was probably about $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that's a really good deal.
Yeah. Just to even think, though, that you could get anything for $500 at any time in San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, that area, absolutely. But, that's about the way, because I live in Chelsea, that's about $2,000. That's a rental house.
Yeah,
now.
For sure.
I can't imagine.
That's like a garden home.
Yeah, like $500. Hold on, what's happening? But it would pique my interest. Absolutely.
Well, I think for $500 in San Francisco, I think I might be okay with what had happened there.
Right?
I don't know. The rest of us at the office were like, you couldn't pay me to live there.
That's so funny.
So did he have any weird situations or any weird, awkward things that happened while he was there? Or was he fine, just a casual guy, like, yeah, whatever, it's cheap rent, I don't care?
Well, some people were curious and they would want to go to his house, but then other people didn't want to go to his house. Like, I'm not going there. And then he also could see some blood he said he could see some blood on the walls at certain times of the day when the sun would hit it just right. So.
Ooh,
that bio cleanup didn't go as well.
Yeah. I'm going to need to know the address so I can get into our system and see if we cleaned up or did not clean up.
It was a long time ago, so it's probably better now. Easier to clean up now.
It's probably been painted over so many times.
Oh my gosh.
That's just what we say about lead-based paint.
Wow.
It's there. It exists. It's been painted over a lot of times since then.
Goodness. Can you imagine being the painter, though? Like, okay, this is no longer a crime scene. We're done here. Hey, can you come paint this house? Oh, yeah, hold on. Let me just get the roller over the blood stains, like the blood splatters on the wall. I can't imagine.
Well, there's so many.
My gosh, just no big deal. Like
What's
another
that stuff
day
called?
at the
Kills?
office.
You're going to have to have a subscription to Kills.
Kills and prime it, and like just being like, I'm sorry, you need to do another coat there. There's still blood. Like that's, oh my goodness.
Well, there are people that specialize in crime scene
Right.
situations. And just like, the company that you work for, they clean that stuff up.
They do. And we use, chemicals and a lot of machines to get smells out, but to truly make sure it is not very toxic and that it is safe to breathe and live in, and just it's cosmetic and looking good, and yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Speaking of that situation, so one time I was in CE, and for some reason I wasn't teaching it that day. I was attending it that day. And this is when I was the broker of a large office. And somebody came in and was like, you've got to take this phone call. She's called twice. It was one of my agents calling, and she was in a panic. And she called. She's like, I'm showing houses. And I went in to, and like that, like, I could actually just fake being on my cell phone instead of. So she said, I don't know what to do. I unlocked the door, and it's such a terrible, horrible smell. And there's a guy dead on the couch.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And I'm like, okay, call 911.
Yeah.
Call, like, get somebody over there. And she's like, he's like half on the couch and half off. And like, are you writing an offer? But there's just so many things we see as real estate agents that we come across. And so whenever you and Paul, like, y'all moved to Kentucky, right?
Yes.
And so y'all started looking at houses and, trying to find a place to settle down. But you found one.
Ooh.
Well, we were brand new to the town. We didn't know anybody there, and then so we just had an agent that the company had the company had moved us there, so they had recommended an agent. So she was showing us houses, and she had given us some flyers, and she took us to this one house, and it had been on the market a while, so we were kind of asking questions, and we were aggravated that she didn't tell us what had happened in the house, because there were multiple murders in that house as well. It was a dad, I think, killed wife and maybe a couple of kids. It's been a long time. This was in the 90s. And it was a very small town. And anyway, so after we started asking some questions, we were like, well, that's really odd. So then we just but she didn't tell us what had happened. So then we had talked to a few people and kind of figured out, but wouldn't it have been terrible to buy that house and we would always be the family that moved there?
Yeah.
Because it was a small town. It was only about 20,000 people.
Oh, so everybody knew.
Everybody knew, yeah.
It
Except
was the famous,
us.
right?
Yeah.
It was the famous place that we talked about in our other episode. So, and anytime I've sold distressed properties, you don't even have to get the end of the sentence out of the address. People are like, "Is that the and hang up on you." Yeah. And the last show that we were talking about is a pawn shop on 280 that I sold, and everybody knew whenever I went to sell it about a double murder that had happened there. It was like super famous everywhere. Like if you just bring it, the pawn shop.
Yes.
Yeah. So that house, everybody in town knew it. They were just praying somebody from out of town would come in.
My goodness.
Yes.
But you bring up a really good question, and a good scenario is like, do you have to disclose about that happening? Like the agent didn't disclose to Tammy. You can, but it's not legal to do. And every state's going to have a different take on that, right? So every state law is going to be a little bit differently, but most states, you do not have to disclose. And a lot of times the seller or the family members, depending on who it has, it could be have gone to the bank. The bank's not going to care. The bank wants you to say anything and everything that needs to be told, right? They're not going to hold you back on anything. But a family member will most often say, please don't tell. And then we as real estate agents have to abide by that. So now I believe in, complete transparency, because you're going to find out. I mean, the second you sign that deed, somebody's going to be at your house going, I can't believe y'all bought this thing, and tell you everything. Everything. And that's what Tammy was feeling like. I can't believe she didn't tell us this.
Right.
But she was probably bound by some client confidentiality there. I would have to have found a way, and I have found a way to honor my sellers when they've requested that, to make sure that they knew. But so what did you find out about it? Anything like?
That's really all. It was the talk of the town, the place was. And,
Right.
you know, and this is really before the internet. It was about 1996. So there wasn't a way to
96 seems to be
Google it.
our year.
It is
I swear, 96 have all been the crimes.
1996 in Mississippi. Like, so much has
Seems to be a
happened.
common theme, doesn't it?
In Chelsea,
Yeah.
And Chelsea,
Yeah.
the pawn
Yeah.
shop.
But, they were accused of, allegedly going to Mississippi in 96
Right.
from the pawn shop. And they said they
Even
didn't.
more
but it
crimes.
was still brought up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everything takes me home.
Girl. What town was that in Kentucky?
Henderson, Kentucky.
Henderson. Okay. Okay.
Well,
have to
and what
dig
we've
into
also
that.
been finding too, what Kylie's been finding is that when it has happened in the 90s, like, because really we didn't have the internet, so there aren't records.
Right.
Right. We had to dig really deep to find all the situation in '96 that happened at the pawn shop in Chelsea. And I mean, lots of different. We had to go a whole bunch of different routes. You know, today we
Right.
can put one address and it'll tell you everything that ever happened there.
Right, right. And another thing we are running into with that, we had called earlier to the police department to find out some information on another story that we're looking to cover. But they said, well, we're sorry, that was before the internet, and the hurricane came in and we lost everything.
Wow.
And so that was another thing that we're like, oh, right, that makes sense. That adds up. And it's just gone. Some of it is
She
just
said
gone.
they still have a lot of the homicides records, public records, but this was a rape that we're looking into. And I don't know if we'll be able to get the details of it. And it went to court and the man was convicted. I'm just trying to get some more details, but
Right.
yeah, we all. That's how our school records, our high school records, transcripts, and stuff like that. We're always wiped away with the hurricane. And just bring a good hurricane to
Goodness.
refresh everything every
Goodness.
few years there.
All right.
Another reason we
Katrina.
live here.
Yes, I bet.
I was pregnant with Jacob, and Gentry was just walking. She was 8 months old, and in Hurricane George. And my aunt lived in Brook Highland here, Jay's aunt, and she had begged me to come. And the house was starting to get water in it. This is a little, like the little sliding those little tangents. And, just talking about moving away from hurricane season. And the water started coming in the house. I'm like, what am I going to do with this baby
Yeah.
if it floods? And it's flooding, like water's coming in. And I just sat there going, God, if you get me out of this, I promise I will move away from here and I will never, ever be a part of a hurricane again. I will never stay through another one. I'd stayed through so many of them. And luckily, everything was fine and he got me out of it and we hauled. Moved
Do what
here.
you got to do.
That's right.
Okay.
So, so you found out like that man ended up murdering his whole family there, and so did it? Did y'all end up buying in Henderson?
We did, yes.
Okay. So did you find out any other like?
No, never. We never found anything else.
But somebody bought it, right?
It was still for sale. We were only there for about a year, and it was still for sale, I think, when we left.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That
And
price
it was a
wasn't low
good
enough.
deal. Yeah, it was a good deal.
Did you go in and view the house
No.
at all? You didn't? Okay. Okay. Was it because I wonder what the vibe was inside? Because sometimes, we'd talked about before, sometimes you walk into a place and you're like, oh, no, something weird is going on here. And you just get this bad energy and bad vibes. And then sometimes you walk in like the pawn shop and you feel okay. Like, this is unfortunate, but it's okay. And they plant flowers and they have gardens and things are just lighter and they completely turn the perspective around. But sometimes you gotta do something to get the energy back.
Oh, we
to
got some
normal.
episodes about that coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Like how to change that energy in a house from. I had one that I sold that had a demon in it. We had to tackle that sucker.
Yeah.
He's out. He's out.
All right. All right.
But Kyra was the one who bought the pawn shop. This was, you know, Kyra.
Mm-hmm.
And so she, her husband had called me to negotiate that situation, and was a for sale by owner, and she brought all kinds of light into it, you know, lifted it up so it never felt dark after she was there. But so sad.
Well, I do think back to that agent that we had in Kentucky because, you know, we were kind of aggravated at her because she was planning to show us the house. But then as I look back, I think, you know, she gave us a printout. It was on the list of houses to see. She took us by it. And I don't know what prompted us to ask a lot of questions, but we asked enough questions that we're like, I don't think I want to see that house. And then found out later from people in town. So I think maybe she had kind of guided us to ask the right questions without violating.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That does. Because you've got good discernment. You were like, I'm not going there.
Right. Right. She was trying to help you out.
I do remember her saying things like, well, it's been on the market for a while. And we were like, well, how long? And it was, I don't remember how long, but it was a long time. And we're like, well, why has it been on the market so long? Well, I don't remember really what her answer was, but she just asked us a lot of questions that made us figure out what had happened.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. Lead the person into
Legally and morally do the right thing.
right. Exactly.
Yes.
Because I would want to know. Because the neighbor is
Absolutely.
going to tell you. That's what they
Absolutely.
do. That's what they do.
Absolutely.
So, and then one of the most recent ones is, you know, your son was looking for a place in Huntsville. And how did you start doing research on that one?
Well, that one, he just called me and like, Mom, I got to buy this house. I'm like, okay, let me see. So he said, so I looked at it and I was like, wow, that is a really good deal. I said, something's got to be wrong with it. And, you know, my mom used to always say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I used that on him. And but anyway, I just called my mom and I was like, hey, there's this house for sale that seems like a really good price. Also, the other thing about it is it had been on the market. It wasn't brand new to the market. That's the other thing. Like it had been on the market maybe 30 days, but it was significantly underpriced. And so when I asked my mom, she goes, you know, there was like a murder down that way. And she said, what's the address? So then we put the address in and immediately it popped up and that was exactly what it was. So
And it was Huntsville, Alabama, correct? Because there's
was
different
in South
Huntsvilles. Yes.
That's, I'm going back and looking at
Yes.
your notes. And so how did he feel about it?
he would have bought it probably.
I was gonna
it was
say.
such a great deal, but I was like, you'll never be able to sell it. You know, I was
Right.
telling him things like that. It's gonna be hard to sell, and
Right.
you know, just problems with it. So I was like, no, you cannot buy it. We'll find something else.
Pull the mom card and be like, no, you're not. You're not. No.
Well, everything works out because he's in a great spot now. But yeah, I would figure that he'd be okay with it. That he probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, my husband and I used to live in the Huntsville area for several years. We loved it there. And there's Redstone Arsenal. So it's huge. Everybody is either working at the Arsenal in Huntsville or they're an engineer. Just everybody. As a, you know, when we lived there, I was mid to late 20s, and I could easily be like, oh, I could see that's a cheap house. Maybe they are trying to hurry up and leave because the Arsenal has them, you know, moving somewhere else. Maybe it would be because people are in and out so much in that area. I could see being like, okay, well, they're trying to get out. Like, it's fine. It's fine. They just need to get on to the next city. But sometimes things are too good to be true.
Yeah.
They are. But you also, as an agent, you had a buyer who was interested in a house off Caldwell Mill, right?
Ooh.
Was it?
There was one in Shelby County.
Okay. Yeah, in Shelby County. Well, in my mind, I'm placing that off Caldwell Mill.
Okay.
All right.
And that's probably not true.
We all learned to read Jenny's mind.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was also a really good price. You know, everybody wanted to see it because it was a great price, and it was
Right.
like, sounds so good to be true. It probably is. But anyway, and I really wasn't sure at the time what we were supposed to or allowed to tell them. But I think I had maybe asked you what I was allowed to say. And I ended up telling them, maybe you should Google it. And then they're like, oh.
Right.
So then they figured it out, and they didn't want to go see it.
Ooh, we should Google it, Kylie.
Okay. Done. What do you need me to do here?
It's on Mill Creek.
Mill Creek.
Oh, that one? Okay. That one was somebody had died of natural causes in that house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see, for me, that's still like, oh, that's unfortunate. But at the same time, it's not as bad as a mass murder. You
Right.
know?
Right.
Like, I don't know. In my head, it's just different. It's different. Death is still there. Death is still going to happen. It's the circle of life. It's
is.
not as traumatic
Right.
to me. But
Now, if it's natural causes, you're not supposed to say anything, right? Either.
Well, unless they ask a direct question,
Okay.
you know. And there are definite clients that will ask you, hey, has anybody died in this house? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
And then you'll ask another direct question to the other agent and try to find out. But, you know,
So how do you know? Because, I would jokingly say that. So, hey, has anybody died here? I mean, do you have to discern, are they really being serious or are they just asking just to be funny? I mean, do you get to make that choice? Or do they have to look at you and go, no
you're
seriously,
asked
I
direct.
want to know.
yeah, you're asked a direct question.
I got
And
you.
there are several cultures that it's very important to them to know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you kind of expect when you start working with certain people, like, okay, you're going to be asked this every time. I probably need to go and call the agent every house that I show ahead of time and find out if somebody has passed away in it. But of course, I was telling Kylie I've got a standard response to that is, gosh, I hope so. Don't you want to die at home?
yes, yes.
I mean, I really don't want to die in a hospital, but she was like, no, I'd rather die at a hospital.
Right. Good.
Well, I did find a website yesterday when I was trying to look some of this stuff up, and there's a website called diedinhouse.com or something like that.
Oh, wow. We need to see
Oh,
that.
my goodness.
Okay. Diedinhouse.com. Just like that's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Can hear the tapping. The tapping. Uh-oh. Kylie looks excited.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be Kylie's new resource now. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Tammy always brings so much to the table.
I have to register for an account. Okay.
Go ahead and register for that account.
Look at
I'm sure that won't throw
y'all.
anything crazy
It's
in the
got
algorithm.
homicides, haunted houses, crime scenes, hotels, commercial and historic properties, stigmatized properties. I mean, story of my life right
Yeah.
guys.
Is Jenny's picture in the top left corner?
It's not.
Well, yeah, I've thought about hotels too because we had a friend who had committed suicide in a hotel here in Birmingham. But, you know, you never know if you're in a room. And apparently I found out at the time that that's a common thing that people would go to do that. So
I'm not
it's-
doing it in their own home for
Right,
yeah.
the loved ones. Yeah.
That's sad, isn't it? But I mean, in New Orleans, you expect it, right? Like
That's
it's been
different.
hospitals for you know Civil War. It's been hospitals for. It's been orphanages. A lot of the hotels were orphanages before they were
Right,
hotels.
right.
I mean, there's and all kinds of strange things have happened to us in hotels in New Orleans.
That city itself, there's just so much there. So
There
much
is.
history, so much drama, so
Yeah.
much.
And we grew up near there, so we were always there throughout the years. But so that were they okay with the one on Mill Creek? They ended up being fine.
They figured out. In that one, you could see in the obituary the guy's address. So they kind of figured out what happened. I didn't have to tell them either.
Okay,
But then they decided against the house.
All right. Now, as a buyer's agent, we can tell. We can tell anything that we know. It's as a listing agent, you know, we've got to have permission from the seller to to say anything. But yeah, that's why people need a buyer's agent, so kind of guide you through this whole situation, especially when I double end something. It always seems like on these properties I'll end up double ending, and then I'm like, oh God, the responsibility is all right here to make sure they know what's going on.
But when you think about these things, though, like, even in Huntsville, which I'm very familiar with, but like maybe I'm not so familiar with trustful. And would I have known if something like this happened in a trustful house? So should I even be really selling houses in trustful?
Well, that's actually a good point. Now, if we actually had a list of direct questions, hey, pick out some of these that matter to you so that I can find out. Might be a good way to do it, because some people, again, they're there for the story. Oh, mass murder happened there. I'm so buying it.
Right.
Not only do I get a good deal, I get to tell everybody what happened here.
Yeah.
And I sold one in Vincent that was like that. And I mean, she took me to the house and she shared the entire story with me. And then I wrote it up and negotiated it out. She was so excited to share the story. This is where the shootout happened. This is where the bullet went through the wall. The sheriff actually killed him with this one here. I'm like, and you're okay living here?
Yeah, just hosting a dinner party.
Yes, exactly, right? So, again, every house is going to sell at the right price. Now, they have torn some down. Like we were talking about how, like, the O.J. Nicole Simpson house, they tore it down. I mean, they probably could have sold it for way more than it was worth just for somebody to have that story.
Yeah.
But they decided to get rid of the stigma on it.
I also wonder if a lot of them become rentals because they can't sell, like the one in Kentucky, and also the one that was a rental in California, because people just wouldn't buy it no matter the price, so then they turn them into a rental. But I don't know. I wondered about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you could Google that. Is there a percentage of mass murder, since that's our topic today? What did we do before? Chat,
We just wondered. We just made up stuff.
Grok, Google, Gemini. What did we do? What did we do? Now we need the do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. Muscle mass? No, mass murder. Percentage of mass murder. What's my question?
Wouldn't you love to be on
Homes.
Kylie's social media about
My search history.
Yeah.
Become rentals.
This is her cover story. She's planning a murder.
Yeah.
Let's see. No. Approximately 20% for investment. Not really. No data on stigmatized properties. Guess
might
what?
be on
Challenge
that.
accepted.
There you go. She's going to be busy tonight trying to find that out. But it does say, what it said, 20% of homes are bought by corporate entities.
For investment purposes.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's actually a good number.
I mean, look at this Google search, right? Or this link right here. Murder houses. How does violence impact sales prices? Geez, I wonder.
Yeah, that's
Six
a good.
of the most infamous murder.
So we did have a. It does say that they sell usually at 25% decline in value.
Gosh, that's not really much.
It really isn't that much.
It depends on who was killed there.
Well, I mean, yeah.
right.
Right?
It depends on how good the story is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I agree with that.
How juicy it is. Well, and probably how well it's cleaned up. I mean, all the things there. But that's why don't be upset if you actually have one of these properties or involved in one of these properties or the executor for one of these properties. They will sell. There's just a way to sell them. And I guess it sounds like I'm asking for invitations to sell a lot of these.
You're asking for it.
I have lots of experience selling these, but that wasn't necessarily an invite. But everything will sell. It just depends. Now, one of the things that we've had though, Tammy, is we've had a lot of corporate entities buying investment properties across the whole country anyway for the past couple of years. And a lot of that has come to an end, and it looks like Trump is doing what he can to stop corporate entities, large corporate entities, from buying investment homes. Like that kind of would be sad for some of these properties. Now you do have your open doors. You do have places that you can go online just to see if somebody will buy your house, and they will. There are options for you to get rid of it and sell it right away. There are all those people that buy houses for cash that would probably come in and do that and probably sell it again, resell it. And whenever there's that buffer, just like we talked about the pawn shop earlier, like because it was 25 years ago when I sold that place, and at that time everybody knew about it and it was super famous, and it was like the pawn shop. Oh my God, you're selling that. Oh, right? It's not like that anymore, right? Like she came to town, she moved here, she's been here now for a long time. She's on her second home here, and she was like, don't even know what you're talking about, right?
No.
Like
I didn't either.
yeah. So all of that, it goes away. The stigma eventually will go away. Now it's harder when you're in a 20,000 populous town.
Right.
And you can imagine the butcher story was never going away.
No, absolutely not.
That was never going away.
Yes.
And now there's nothing but a slab there. The house was torn down. But it did flood in some of the hurricanes. It flooded a couple times. But it's gone. It's gone. So people don't have to worry about it anymore. They don't have to ride by there and take pictures anymore. So the fun stuff about stigmatized properties. So I know that there was another thing, and I said we weren't going to talk about it, but, you know, and we're going to make a whole show about this one house that you kind of brought up because you showed it, right? Or you were going to show it.
Somebody wanted to see it, yeah.
Okay. And I am connected to that place, in this place that she's talking about, that we're talking about, is a secret. In so many different ways. Like I knew the lady that had been killed there. I knew of the guy who killed her. He had actually asked Jay to build him a house at one time, and another friend, and he came home and told me about it. And I said, you know, I had a friend tell me that he is bad news. And she was like, look at me. She was like, look at me right here. Because I said, you know, that guy rides around in the neighborhood and sometimes talks to Jay. And she's like, listen to me. He is evil. Don't ever talk to that guy again. Do you hear me? And she was like slapping me like, listen to what I have to say. And I'm like, I got you. So I relayed that to Jay, and he's like, I'm not doing that anyway. Like Jay can pick up on people's stuff. You know, I love everybody. He was like, no worries there. And then the person that I met her from was an agent colleague of ours and a good friend of mine. And then the guy who killed her was buying another house. Even though he was married, he had a girlfriend who was pregnant, and he was buying a multi-million-dollar house. And my other friend, who is an agent, had that listing and was helping him buy that house.
Oh my goodness.
So all of them had to go to court.
Wow.
Over all of it. And then the house itself was across the street from another one of my friends who's also an agent. So that story is one of the worst. It really is one of the worst. And we're going to share all of it. And you're like, come on.
Yes.
Why can't you tell me now?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm ready to start Googling.
I know. So, but you did have somebody call, and this was in the gated community of Highland Lakes, and it's highly publicized. Right now, if you know anything about it, you're like, oh yeah, I know about that, right? I just gave you the details about it. And we'll end up doing a full show about it and probably bringing some guests on that as well, because the attorney that I called to actually ask if I could talk, well, he represented one of the parties. So I'm like, another one. I mean, like,
Another
it's
connection.
Yeah, that goes to show, like what you were saying, Tammy, is being in a small town. I mean, we're not a tiny town by any means. We've got 1 million people throughout the metro Birmingham area, so we are like a big small town.
Right.
But we're going to end up finding something out. Right. People are connected. We're not a tiny little bitty town, but people are connected here, and y'all, we love to talk. Everybody's talking. So you had somebody though say, hey, that's a good price. I want to go see that.
Yeah, it was a friend of mine wanted to go see it, to buy it for their residence, and anyway, it was a great price. And it seemed like it was maybe a couple of years after it happened.
It was.
I recognized the street, and I was like, wait a minute, I think that's the street. So then I looked it up, and I was like, you really want to Google this one, and so they did, and they were like, oh, that's the house, and I was like, yeah, that's the house.
Oh, my goodness.
So they didn't want to go see it after that.
Welcome home.
Right.
So it's interesting that you've actually experienced a lot of people not moving forward with some of these properties. And I've had them all. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably one extreme or another.
Yeah, I mean, evidently. So one of the last things that you shared with me, and this doesn't really have anything to do with real estate per se, but it does have to do with our community. Like you play tennis, and you were sharing with me like where you would play at the Y a good bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would play at the at the Y, and it always really smelled when we would play on this back court. And anyway, then they started construction on a well-known restaurant now, and they found a body back there in a little drainage pond they had back there. It was just woods before this place was built. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little swampy area just right there. And there's some homes back there that, but yeah, isn't that funny that the stench itself doesn't cause any alarms for somebody to go search?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought anything about it either.
You're just outside
I would have
playing
been like,
tennis.
Well, there's every connection on 280, right, has the sewer smell.
Yes.
Every corner.
Yes.
So I probably would have just been, God, the sewer's acting up today every
Wind is
time.
blowing,
And I'm still not sure if it wasn't the sewer that was smelling. I don't know.
It
could
may have been a bad
but-
combo of that,
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that the body was still just laying there, then you were just outside.
Yeah.
Well, and it goes to show you because we're so fragmented these days as far as where we get our news and like on YouTube, or we don't go to the local place anymore. And if we go to like ABC or some of the networks that do just Birmingham, there's so many murders that happen in the city of Birmingham
Yes.
that takes all the notoriety, that takes all the attention. And so many things happen in our community we don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Jay was like, oh, I think I remember that. I'm like, do you? I don't remember that. Because, I mean, quite honestly, I go to national stuff now on YouTube to get a lot of my stuff. I rely on, running into y'all and y'all telling me what's going on around here. It's crazy. It's our world is changing so quickly. Especially since 96.
Yeah. 96 to 26.
I
It's
know.
a big jump there.
Well, and you've given us so many things to consider. You've got Kylie so happy she's got a new website now that she's going to be able to research. And this is it goes to show you not only as a homeowner searching in cities across the country, but also being a real estate agent and having to represent people as well, that this is a true issue that comes up more often than not. So thank you for joining us today and being a part of it and sharing your stories.
Yes.
I know that so many agents have their own stories, and I know that it was overwhelming, but you did so good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Make sure that you watch us on YouTube, and you can get some more of the details as Kylie puts those, weaves those into our story. And don't forget to download. And if you've got a story of your own, reach out to us. We'd love to share as Kylie does the research on it, share more details about it. Thank you again for watching Dirty Deeds, the dark side of real estate.
Dirty deeds in real estate. Hidden lies behind the gate. Big money, broken dreams. No one's ever what it seems. Oh yeah. The dark side of real estate.
Jenny Williams is a licensed real estate agent with EXP Realty. The opinions and views expressed on Dirty Deeds in Real Estate are solely her own and do not reflect the views, policies, or positions of EXP Realty or its affiliates.